Hey y'all, Kevin Hutchison here with Realty Austin, and I am grateful to be a part of Stories Inside the Man Cave, a homegrown podcast just like my own business.
Well, look at this. March Madness, episode 123. And this is perhaps the most satisfying background I've ever seen a guest have. It's the Crockett, Texas legend himself, the pride of KVUE, the Channel of Champions, Bryan Mays. I have no idea. I didn't know there was a mountain in Port Aransas, but you have perhaps the best view in all of the Texas coastline. Spring breaking it up.
You know that's right. My daughter's a senior in high school. She says, "Dad, we need to go to the beach." I said, "Well, get in the car and let's to the beach." And that's what we're doing this week. But you know what, Sean? I tell you, it's great to talk to you because it's a big sports week. You know that.
Yeah. It's where you are in Port Aransas, not too far down the road. A program making its second appearance in the NCAA tournament, that being Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, a guy who coaches that program in his first year. You and I know him all too well.
A great basketball coach, and has done a wonderful job with a team that's not traditionally one of those tournament type teams, Sean. And I think that who knows what's going to happen when we get to later this week, but what they've accomplished getting to this point has been amazing at Corpus for sure.
Yeah, Steve Lutz is the guy that I alluded to, and if you were not aware by now, Jim Saxton, State Farm Insurance, the big-time sponsor of this pod, friend of the program. And as we move forward, obviously I want to bring up, because B. Mays is enjoying all the sun rays, and I don't know if he can see this, but we're going to bring up just the graphic of the entire bracket. This is the field of 68. The first four begins Tuesday night in Dayton, Ohio. B, I've got to ask you, I know it's for excitement. I know it provides a lot of suspense and talk, but the first four, your thoughts on that? Because you and I think, have had similar feelings before. If you're in as a 12 seed, you shouldn't have to play into the tournament.
It's tough because the one thing I really hate about it is the automatic qualifiers, the ones that have gone out and won their conference tournament, whether it be a smaller mid-major type league or somewhere maybe that you get a Big Ten school that goes on a good run and they get to the conference championship game and win it. I hate those AQ teams that have to play in that play-in game, because to me, you're really not in the tournament yet. Yeah. I mean, you're technically part of the bracket, but I wish those play-in games would go to teams that are bubble type teams. Let's get a 16 seed or a 12 seed out of the Big Ten or SEC and make them play their way in. They prove they belong there. So that's the one thing about the play-in game that I'm not a huge fan of.
No, I'm right there with you, and I do want to encourage everyone who's listening to, if you have an opportunity, go to the tournament challenge. It's called Clynch's MANSCAPED podcast. That's the key word for the bracket challenge that we have. If you look across the great state of Texas, let's look at the Cinderella potential. You and I both know all too well that if you're one of the 4 seed or the 3 seed or even the 5 seed, you're in trouble. You have quite a big matchup ahead of you as far as upset potential. On the screen here, I have Cinderella potential in the West. 12, New Mexico State is a 12 seed. The 13 seed, Vermont in the East. Akron a 13, 14 at Yale. The South, I think Alabama, Birmingham in the 12. It's all teams that could bust some brackets. In the Midwest, the 13th seed, South Dakota State. Are you aligned with that, or do you feel like there's some other teams that can really bust up some brackets?
I'll tell you, Vermont, you nailed it with Vermont. They've had a heck of a march so far. And at 13, that's one thing you see it every year. like you said, you see it every year. One of those 13s. That's the one I circled, to be honest with you. I think Vermont is one of those teams that could really be a thorn in the side of one of these teams that's got, designs on the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight. I don't know so much about Yale. I'm not too familiar with the Ivy League. I know they're always scrappy.
Yeah.
That's the word they use to describe those Ivy League schools. But I feel like Vermont, to me, is one of those teams. I hate to say it as a Texas fan, Virginia Tech at an 11 seed against the 6 seed from Austin. That seems the way they played against North Carolina. Else in that ACC tournament. Virginia Tech is another team that's a double-digit seed, I think.
Yeah.
Man, they could really make some noise there.
13. They've won 13 of their past 15 games. And speaking of the Horns, this is their reaction after they didn't look too hot against TCU, a team that Texas had some success against in the regular season. This is their reaction at the selection show on Sunday evening. So they were obviously excited to be in, relieved. They knew they would be in, but a 6 seed in their bracket, what is it about going to Milwaukee that either gives you hope as a Longhorn fan, or what do you like about that bracket?
Well, what gives me hope as a Longhorn fan is the first 20 minutes against TCU when they looked like a team that could make a run to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight. And then, as you saw, they played the second half. And it's one of those Jekyll and Hyde type games where Texas could legitimately, talent-wise, compete with pretty much anybody. We've seen them play 2 1 seeds. They beat one of them and probably should have beaten the other one in Baylor. And Gonzaga, for that matter, they played as well. They played 3 of the 1 seeds in this tournament. So I feel like Texas has the ability to go through and make it to the second weekend. Yeah. But I also feel like against Virginia Tech, Sean, if they don't play like they played in the first half against TCU, those guards from Virginia Tech, if they shoot the ball like they do, man, I don't know. It could be one and done again, which is just heartbreaking for that team. I feel like they've got the talent to make a run, but they got a tough draw.
Yeah, they did. Virginia Tech beat Duke in the ACC tournament, I believe, for the championship. Now, what everyone's looking at right now, as we're justified to the left a little bit, this is the Lone Star State flavor. Baylor, we all know them, defending national champions, 2 seed in the West. U of H, 5 seed in the South, and we just mentioned Texas, 6 seed in the East. Texas A&M-Corpus Christi, they're a member of the first 4. They'll play Texas Southern, another Texas squad, obviously. TCU, a 9 seed in the South, and Texas Tech, a 3 seed in the West. Of those in the Lone Star State who are representing in the dance, which do you see falling victim early, and which of those do you think can make a good run? I think TCU has a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Baylor being a 1 seed again, I think Baylor's got a chance to make it, to the Final Four. They're talented, just as talented to me as Kansas is. Yeah. It surprised me that they got that number 1 line. I think that Houston's a little bit underrated because they haven't had the march they had going into last year's NCAA tournament. They're just as good as they were last year. Maybe not from the perimeter, but Houston's going to be there at the end. The team that I've got my eye on, Sean, and I think a lot of people feel this way about what Texas Tech has done this season. Yeah. They've got some really experienced guys that have been in the spotlight before. They've been in this tournament every year of their college career, most of them, and they got a good draw. Yeah. I think Texas Tech got a really winnable bracket. The way they play, their style of basketball in that bracket, man, I wouldn't bet against Texas Tech.
I wouldn't either. They are strong defensively, and they are very physical. Texas Tech would not surprise me if they're in the Final Four. I'm serious. But, I think the last time Texas won an NCAA tournament game, it was in Milwaukee, right? Was that?
I think you're right.
You know, wouldn't that be something? That's where Shaka Smart is now at Marquette.
Yeah.
And I'm just putting some random things together, you know. And Marquette's a team I think that could make a run, possibly. I would love to see it for Shaka, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I honestly think this is one of those years where you see a lot of parity between 3 and 9, 3 and 10 seeds.
Yes.
But I also see it as a year where we could have 3 1 seeds in the Final Four. I mean, you really could get down to the second weekend in the Elite Eight and still have Baylor, Kansas, Arizona, and Gonzaga all still alive with a chance to make it to the end. And I feel like that you see over the course of the year kind of interchange at number one. Gonzaga's there for a while. Baylor's there for a while. You know, Arizona's been in the top 5 for a while. But when you get to this point of the season, those teams that are playing well now are the ones, to me, that are going to be, you know, the ones making a run to that second weekend.
100%. We just made note, and I apologize. I made an error on that graphic on Baylor. I had them down as a 2 seed. You know, that's my fault on that.
It's all right. It's a great. You got to. Hey, I know you got to pull your Lumberjacks into this somehow. I know
somehow. Oh, you see it. We didn't make it this year. We choked it off in the quarterfinal round of the WAC conference tournament. But the ladies made it. But you know, we just discussed the 3-14, 5-12, and the 4-13, 3-14 as being those where a lot of upsets happen. Here's a graphic since the tournament expanded in 1985. 22 wins by the 14 seed over the 3 seed. Notable SFA against West Virginia lately, 2016, and then Abilene last year, which was horrific, just deflating for Texas fans. So I think in recent history, if you look at it, this is one of the, if you're going to make those selections as bracket busters, who stands out for you as far as maybe a 14th seed that have you looked at yet?
I don't. You know what? This might be the year that 14 kind of pattern evaporates. I think this year the 13 are the ones.
Yep.
I like Vermont a lot. We've talked about that already. As you look down the line in each region, there's some 13s, there's some 12s that are really good 24, 25 win teams. There's not a 14 that jumps out to me, to be honest with you this year.
No.
I mean, what do you think? I don't see this might be the year we get chalk at the bottom half, like when you get the 1s, 2s, and 3s all to the second round.
No, I really don't see that team that really concerns me. Of course, you mentioned that as the 13 seeds. There's been 31 upsets since 85. North Texas was the one that defeated the defending national champions, I believe, not too long ago, Virginia. There's a lot of parity, and that's what makes this tournament so good. And UNT, they had a really good team that year. And coming out of, Super Pit, kind of like the Super Drum. But, yeah, they play good basketball up in Denton. I think the Big Ten is a little heavy. You know, they had, 9 teams make the NCAA tournament. The Big 12 has 6. I think you're going to see those 3 from the West Coast Conference make a run. Yeah,
I mean, obviously playing well at this time of the year, like you said before, it's all or nothing now. And when you get those teams on the West Coast, the ones that get to stay closer to home, who knows? I mean, obviously Gonzaga plays on the West Coast, and they're to me the team to beat. St. Mary's gave them all they can handle. And you know, you got a coach in Mark Few at Gonzaga that's been to the Final Four, probably should have won it last year, with a lot of the same guys back. Timmy the Texan, you got the freshman kid who's going to be a one and doneer. I don't know. Gonzaga's a team I think is going to win it all. I don't see anyone else at this point in the season playing better with better players than Gonzaga.
You know, you and I both. There's so many people who are either not big sports fans or kind of college basketball fans, but they get excited about this because we're all filling out those brackets. But you and I are in the same group that we love the brackets. We try to watch every game imaginable in the tournament. What do you have any madness memories that you remember that to this day that always come up in your conversations?
You know, this is gonna show my age, but the first memory that really pops into my mind this time of the year, University of Houston was Phi Slama Jama, and they made it to New Mexico. And they played in that championship game against one of the great stories of all time, NC State, when they won it that year. That's one that comes to mind for me, the University of Houston and the way they did it. In 2003, when Texas finally made it to the Final Four, first time in my lifetime, that was fun because TJ Ford was one of those type players that truly did change the entire way people looked at the University of Texas. They didn't win, clearly, but those two things come to mind. I love it. I love this time of the year. It's fun. It's springtime. It's March. It's anybody can win. We've seen it before. You get teams get to the Final Four that are 12 seeds, 13 seeds, and it just makes it fun for everybody that's, kind of wanting to watch good competition.
100%. As far as my memory, obviously, Jim Valvano, the underdog, making it all the way to what you just mentioned. That was such a good – that's what was so great about that. And to think about that, Albuquerque, New Mexico hosted a Final Four is – there's no way that'll ever happen again. I think about, obviously, Texas, if they would have beaten Carmelo Anthony in Syracuse, they would have won the national title that year. There's no doubt about it, in my opinion. But I look back, Raleigh, Massimino, and Villanova, when 3 of the Final Four teams in 85 were from the Big East.
Yeah.
It was Villanova, Georgetown, and St. John's. Lou Carnesecca, Coach Thompson.
There's some good memories there for sure, man. I loved watching those old games.
But those UNLV teams.
And that's what it's going to be like for the next 3 weeks. We're going to get more memories. Like, they're going to be buzzer beaters. Yeah, UNLV teams in the 90s, one going undefeated until they ran into the juggernaut of Mike Krzyzewski. Mike Krzyzewski's last tournament, what's it going to be like? Is he going to make a run to the Final Four with his final team? Those storylines, it's just so fun to watch and follow.
It is. It's one of those things that you remember for a lifetime, and you talk about, and you see those clips, and it makes you feel old because some of the video that you and I watched is now kind of looking grainy. When video becomes grainy, you've aged a little bit.
That is full show.
Hey, B, a new segment. We have a new segment here. It's because of our new sponsor, Manscaped.com. It's called Manscaping in the Man Cave. Hold tight. Yeah, we're covering about every topic imaginable here at Man Stories Inside the Man Cave, including manscaping. Manscaped.com is so popular that they have their own periodical, a newspaper. And their top headline, "We Save Balls," is pretty popular nowadays. And, they really attracted me. So much so that I love the products. And they sent me this entire package I'm going to show you. Well, the premier products of this box I just showed you, the Performance Package 4.0, this bad boy, the Lawnmower 4.0. Take a listen. That is the sound of absolutely tremendous manscaping in the man cave. So today, as you're watching this episode, I encourage you to jump on to manscaped.com and look for the Performance Package 4.0. You'll get the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It is smooth, and you just feel like a piece of silk afterwards, and you feel clean. Personally, let me show you what I love the most. Right here, the ball deodorant. I know the light's a little bright here, but the ball deodorant, it smells like sweet mahogany and pheromones. B, you got to get you some of that ball deodorant for Port Aransas.
Yeah. You know what? That might not be a bad idea around here these days on spring break. You don't want any foul smells coming from anywhere.
Man, this was a great topic. One of these days, we're going to get on the topic and promote our friends at manscaped.com, who recently we renewed our partnership. So that's great. But we are going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to let the ladies have the stage of women's college basketball. Man, you have enough sun to last for about a minute and a half?
Man, I got to get back to the beach, man.
Oh, hey, that's perfect.
It's been fun talking to you, though. Do you need me longer or what?
Oh man, hey, if you need to go to the beach, I'm not going to interrupt your spring break for an episode of Stories Inside the Man Cave, brother. You've been good. You've been generous with your time.
But I love visiting
all the
with you.
time.
It's calling me. The old Gulf is calling me.
Hey, I just saw. Let's see. A tiger shark. It says he wants you to try to catch him.
I'm gonna try to. In the morning, we're headed out on the bay tomorrow to try to catch a few. So I'll let you know how we do.
Hey, brother, enjoy it. Give the family some love and tell them that they're always welcome inside on the Man Cave. Any episode that they want to join us.
It's always good. I'll get my dad some of that deodorant for Christmas next year.
Hey,
I appreciate your time.
Hey, your dad is a prime candidate for the manscaped.com ball deodorant.
All right, brother. Enjoy the tournament.
We'll see you, brother. Happy spring break. For all of your insurance needs, look no further than our primary sponsor, Jim Saxton State Farm Insurance Agency. The ATX OG has been insuring Austin for over 3 decades. And get this, Jim Saxton is a Longhorn legacy. He is the son of the late, great James Saxton, who was a Heisman finalist. Be sure to give him a call, or better yet, visit his website, saxtoninsurance.com, and tell him that the Stories Inside the Man Cave boys recommended you.
JJ Gotch, CEO of the Austin Gamblers, and segment 2 of Stories Inside the Man Cave is next.
How about that? Bryan Mays from Port Aransas, Texas. Spring break, man. That's not bad. A 48-year-old man taking a step back to spring break. We all deserve spring break. Man, I'm so glad that he made time for us on this March Madness edition, episode 1, 2, 3. Yes. So what you just saw were the Texas women's basketball program celebrating a Big 12 championship, the automatic bid Big 12 tournament championship that was. They had suffered, I think, 13 straight losses to Baylor, who is an unbelievable program. Kim Mulkey really developed that program into something that was beyond. They just a powerhouse, just like UConn has had a stronghold on this women's college game for quite some time. Baylor is one of those. Multiple national championship. Baylor still rolling. Baylor still that program. But Vic Schaefer and the Longhorns have become, they're starting to inch up there. You know, Coach Aston, say what you will, but she helped bring Texas back to some consistency. And then Vic Schaefer, who did such a great job at Mississippi State. He was at Sam Houston during the Stephen F. Austin Lady Jack heyday, if you will, back when before Title IX really just left the mid-majors in behind. And he was at Sam Houston, then with Gary Blair at A&M, and became the head coach at Mississippi State. Did a wonderful job there. And these are the Texas teams who will representing the state of Texas on the women's side. We've got Baylor, obviously in the Wichita region. Incarnate Word from the Southland Conference. They're in the first four. Big-time opportunity for them. Stephen F. Austin, for the 20th time, they are going to the dance. They'll be the 5 seed in Greensboro, North Carolina. Texas, a 2 seed in Spokane, and Texas Arlington, a 14 seed, also joining Stephen F. Austin on that Greensboro region. But so in Texas region, there's a potential that the UT women could play LSU in the Sweet 16. Texas opens the tournament. The final 2 games, or 3, there'll be 4 teams in Austin. So there'll be the final 3 basketball games at the Irwin Center before it will be demolished. And if Texas goes to Sweet 16, if LSU does as well, Texas and LSU will play. So it will be Kim Mulkey facing her former rivals, Texas, in the Sweet 16 round of the women's NCAA tournament. Hey, by the way, segment 2 here brought to you by FarmhouseDelivery.com. Austin, Texas-based, sourced produce, organic produce, sourced Texas meats from Texas ranches, and they have meal kits and all types of platters, kits for parties, get-togethers for, as you know, people are, you want to, let's say you have with the upcoming Dale match play, you want to have a get-together for cocktails, some hors d'oeuvres. Go to FarmhouseDelivery.com for your springtime party. Fill up your cart, but before you check out, put in the promo code MANCAPED for 20% off of your first order. Of course, my name's Sean Clynch, the host here at Stories Inside the Man Cave. For the Longhorns, beating Baylor was a significant win for the program and the development for Vic Schaefer. This was the Longhorns after that win over Baylor up in Kansas City. Pretty big step for the program, that is.
You know, we came here to win a championship, and I think you saw today some really determined kids. I think these young ladies were absolutely not going to be denied. They're not intimidated. They're not afraid. They had a warrior mentality.
I mean, obviously we came focused and ready to go. We played the game 5 minutes at a time, and we won every 5 minutes.
And I also want to add, the whole time I was thinking about our seniors. This is really, really huge for them. I was like, I have many more years to play this game, but I was like, this is going to be big for them. And so, like, I don't think you understand. Like, I want to do this for you and Audrey and Ebo so bad.
Yeah.
And to see y'all so happy, like, that's, it just, yeah, it makes me really happy.
What do you say? The youngsters taking over, partnering up with the upperclassmen, that's when you start seeing movement in a program like that. So Texas will open up the tournament at home at the Irwin Center against Fairfield. Kind of funny, Fairfield came to Austin for the college baseball regionals last year. Just how strange all that happened. So, and I mentioned, and I got to give a shout out to my alma mater for the 20th time, as I mentioned. These ladies making it to the NCAA tournament for back-to-back seasons. Shout out to Stephen F. Austin. Shout out to the Lady Jacks program. Back in my day, they made the tournament every year and won games. Actually hosted a Midwest Regional there in Nacogdoches and filled it up. About 7,500 a game. I remember it was Stephen F. Austin, Louisiana Tech, Texas Tech, and Georgia, the toughest regional that year. Stephen F. Austin almost upset Georgia, who had Sadia Roundtree. Georgia was the eventual national champions that year. Pretty impressive field that was, but it's shown you how much the game has grown from the ladies' side. And that is tremendous. Hey, let's wrap things up with one of my favorite segments. Tell me something good.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
Tell me something good, sponsored by our guy, Kevin Hutchison. Just call him Hutch and give him a call. Look him up. Google him up. Kevin Hutchison Realty Austin. Real estate. It is a very competitive game. You need somebody who is knowledgeable, laid back, and is trustworthy. Kevin Hutchison is the guy. And I'm not just saying that because he's a sponsor and a friend, a sponsor and friend of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast. The guy really does. He's just genuine. And he has a genuine knowledge of both the Austin and San Antonio real estate markets and all areas in between. And you'll actually enjoy it. And if you meet with him and you think, man, I want to get this guy something, just buy the dude a cortado from a coffee shop. He'll be your friend the rest of your life. I promise you that. But tell me something good. Man, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've ever been here in Austin, Texas during the springtime, about right now, all the way through the month of March, Austin's a great place to be any time of year. But I'll tell you this, despite what's going on overseas in the Ukraine, but Austin, Texas, it's beautiful this time of year. March Madness, St. Patrick's Day, South by Southwest, cool mornings, warm afternoons. Everyone's working out, bike riding. Everyone's having a good time. There's music everywhere. Everybody wants to be around people, and that's what we need. To reverse the trend of what's going on here because of the pandemic. Reverse the trend of let's be social. We're social beings. Get outside. Enjoy what's going on. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine. Enjoy March Madness, even if you're not a sports fan. This is something special because you see these small programs step up and have their day on the stage, and before you know it, some of them rise up almost to the level that Gonzaga is now. That's how Gonzaga got started. They were giant killers. My alma mater, Stephen F. Austin, they become a relevant program because of that, but they're not on that level of Gonzaga yet. I hope they do. It's just fun to watch. And submit your brackets to the Stories Inside the Man Cave Bracket Challenge. Look under Clynch's Man Cave Podcast. That's the name of it. It's on the ESPN Bracket Challenge. Submit those. Let's have some fun. I may have a special prize for the person who wins. Go to ESPN. Go to the Bracket Challenge. Look for Clynch's Man Cave Podcast. That's the name of it. There weren't enough characters to put the Stories Inside the Man Cave Podcast as the title of it, but do it. Let's have some fun with it. And thank you to B. Mays from atop of a roof in Port Aransas for giving his insightful knowledge and takes on the March Madness brackets, and for you, the loyal Man Cave Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast listener, viewer, and supporter. Man, much love to you. Get outside, enjoy this beautiful weather, get your vitamin D. Let's enjoy life the way it's intended to be. Get outside, kneel on the water, enjoy the live music. It's right here in Austin, Texas, and wherever you may be, get outside, enjoy it, man. The season's changing. We need to be outdoors. We need to love people. Need to support each other and enjoy every day we wake up. That is telling you something good. So for B. Mays and every college basketball fan in the country, and for the OG Man Cave boys who helped me get this started, that being Big Mike, Coach Mo, Hardball Harge, we are out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.